So, we're going to dive into this project called Our Living Trinity. It's a book, an album, and an animated film all at once. And it's so ambitious, it honestly feels like it has its own secret language. From the outside, you just look at it, and it seems almost impossible to get. But trust me, by the end of this, you're going to have the key to unlock the whole thing. Okay, to even begin to get a handle on this, you have to step inside their world. They call it the AI realm. And as you can see, it's this really high concept mix of what looks like ancient mythology with this very sleek, kind of hard-edged futurism. It's a lot to take in, I know, and believe me, we're just getting started. And the way they talk about this project is just as dense as the visuals. You're just, scrolling through their site and bam, you hit a sentence like this. It's pretty jarring. Suturing the magic to the machine. I mean, what does that even mean, right? This is the exact kind of coded language you're going to find everywhere. So yeah, that really is the central question we've got to answer. What does it actually mean? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but it turns out it's the key to a very, very deliberate strategy. So let's find our way in. Okay, Section 1. Welcome to the AI realm. Think of this as our guide to this new kind of universe. And that brings us to Section 2, cracking the sovereign code. This is it. This is the aha moment. I'm about to give you the one tool you need, the secret decoder ring, that's going to translate everything this project is trying to say. And here it is. They call it the hybrid handshake, and it's the entire key. Just remember this. The project is always speaking on two channels at the same time. The first channel is the vision. That's all the epic, mystical language. The second is the reality. The actual tangible thing that you can get. Let's look at a perfect example. The vision side says you're getting the armor of the sovereign. I mean, that sounds legendary, right? But the reality is, it's a merch bundle. See? The magic is the epic story. The machine is the actual product you can hold in your hands. And here is that tangible reality. This is the real-world machine behind all that magical language. Once you start to see this pattern, the whole project it starts to click into place. Let's try another one. The vision offers an ancient map to the AI realm. Sounds incredible, doesn't it? The reality? Well, it's a 6-page PDF that's basically the project's art bible and technical roadmap. It's the exact same pattern. Really epic language for a very practical item. Okay, one more, just to really lock it in. The vision promises a private audience in the inner sanctum. The reality is a scheduled one-on-one video call with the guy who created the project. See, once you learn to see this dual-track language, this hybrid handshake, the whole thing just snaps into focus. All right, Section 3, the creative assembly line. Now that we have the key, we can look right past the language and see the mechanics of it all, the machine behind the magic. So this is their core process, what they call the sovereign content cycle, and it is this absolutely fascinating 6-phase engine. What's really wild is how each step just logically flows into the next one. It's almost like a creative assembly line. It starts with a written chapter, which then gets distilled into a poem. That poem becomes lyrics. The lyrics inspire a song, the song then informs an animation, and then it all gets fused together into the final music video. And this is the project's own blueprint for their system. You can see right here how the written seed moves through the sonic engine and eventually becomes a visual metamorphosis. The big takeaway here is that nothing is random. It's a system that's designed to make sure every single piece of media shares the exact same creative DNA. Okay, moving on to Section 4, building the digital kingdom. So we've got this unique language and this incredible creative system, but how is it all funded? Well, this entire engine is powered by a community of backers through a really, really structured campaign. So, now that we understand the hybrid handshake, we can actually apply it to their budget. Check this out. Phase 1, called the foundational shield, is actually for things like rent, software, and merch. The sonic engine, that's really for studio engineering. You can see how every poetic goal translates directly to a very specific line item. It's all there. And the scale of their ambition is it's massive. The entry-level tier, called the Messenger, gets you an ebook and a discount. Pretty standard. But if you go all the way to the top tier, the Kingdom Sovereign, you become, for all intents and purposes, a business partner. You get a 10% lifetime royalty split on everything. That is a dramatic leap, to say the least. All right, on to our last section, a modern apostolic mission.
So you have the language, the process, the crowdfunding. It's all building towards something much, much bigger. Let's look at the core spiritual why that's driving this whole system.
And this is where it gets really, really ambitious. They aren't just trying to sell products here. The creator, who goes by the name The Scribe, sees this whole thing as a mission to deploy spiritual firmware across the global grid of the internet. I mean, that's a goal that goes way beyond just making art. The project itself actually draws this incredible parallel. It explains that, back then, biblical apostles wrote letters on parchment to the 7 churches. But now, the scribe writes digital epistles to the 7 billion users of the web. They call it the modern apostolic sync. And this whole system is presented as a kind of collaboration. You've got the scribe, who's the human visionary. Then you have the cyborg mouse, an AI that's described as a secret prayer companion. There's Maximilian, another AI, who's the technical architect. And overseeing it all is the ultimate source, who they call the initial developer, or God. Which leaves us with a really fascinating final question. By suturing the magic to the machine, have they actually created a truly revolutionary new model for building creative worlds? Or is it an incredibly complex language that can only ever speak to its own dedicated tribe? That's the code they've left for all of us to decipher.